The summer sun blazed fiercely over the forest. On the dry ground, a fox wandered, its fur matted with sweat and dust. For days, it had failed to catch prey. Mice hid too well, rabbits ran too fast, and birds soared beyond reach. With every step, its stomach growled in protest. Its eyes scanned the forest desperately for a glimmer of hope. But all it heard were cicadas shrilling in the heat and leaves rustling in the wind. A grim thought crossed its mind. Will I starve today? In its gaze flickered both fear and determination. The fox knew, to survive, it must seize even the smallest chance. Following a narrow path, the fox suddenly froze. Ahead, an old vine spread its thick leaves wide. Amidst the greenery hung clusters of glistening purple grapes, shimmering in the afternoon sun like jewels. Each plump sphere promised sweetness, its fragrance drifting on the breeze. The fox's eyes blazed with hunger. It imagined the cool burst of juice on its tongue, sweetness washing away its gnawing emptiness. All its hardships seemed to vanish, replaced by raw desire. It licked its lips and whispered, "At last. The feast I've been waiting for." The grapes became the only target in its mind. The fox raised its eyes to the grapes hanging high above. The distance was enough to discourage most creatures, but not this one. It crouched low, muscles coiled, then leapt upward. Its claws scraped only leaves, and it crashed back to the ground, dust swirling around it. Yet instead of surrendering, it drew a deep breath and snarled, "I won't let them slip away." In its mind, the grapes became more than food. They were proof of strength and ambition. Its stomach roared, urging it on. The fox steadied itself, preparing for a second attempt, with fiercer determination burning in its chest. The fox stepped back farther, muscles tense, then dashed forward and leapt. This time it soared higher, claws almost brushing the outermost grape. Yet the jump lacked power. It crashed to the ground, skidding across the dirt. Pain seared through its body and it growled in frustration. A fleeting thought urged it to give up, but the image of those plump grapes pulled it back. Licking its parched lips, it muttered, "Again, I must try again." Hunger refused to let it quit. The noise startled a sparrow perched nearby. It chirped mockingly, "Ha! Fox, what a clumsy leap. Those grapes are only for creatures who can fly." The laughter pierced the fox's pride like needles. It glared upward, eyes blazing. "Silence. Do you think I can't do it?" The fox roared. The sparrow laughed louder, fluttering around, flaunting its small yet capable wings. The fox clenched its teeth, body trembling with both shame and fury. Now, it didn't just crave the grapes to fill its belly. It needed them to prove to the world that it could. Ignoring the sparrow's laughter, the fox backed away, sprinted faster than ever, and launched upward. Muscles strained, claws stretched wide. For a fleeting instant, it believed it had reached the grapes. But the distance was still too great. It crashed down again, chest slamming against the ground, gasping for air. Pain shot through its ribs as it lay motionless, eyes squeezed shut. Its stomach growled viciously, and the vision of shining grapes forced its eyes open. Despite mounting despair, it whispered fiercely, "Not yet. I will not yield." From the base of a tree, a squirrel peeked out, eyes glinting. It laughed. How amusing. Mighty fox, defeated by a bunch of grapes. The squirrel bounded up the vine, effortlessly reaching high branches. Gnawing a nut, it looked down mockingly. "Perhaps you should learn to climb instead of leap." The fox's teeth ground together, face flushed with rage. "Laugh all you want." "I will reach them, and then you'll eat your words," it bellowed. The squirrel shrugged and scampered higher, its laughter echoing. The fox turned back to the grapes, fury stoking its resolve. The grapes were no longer just food. They had become pride itself. After countless failed leaps, the fox no longer had the strength to try again. It sank onto the ground, panting, yet its eyes remained fixed on the vine. This time, instead of rushing blindly, it studied carefully. The grapes hung from branches growing out of an ancient trunk, some lower than others. Scanning the area, the fox noticed scattered stones and even a fallen tree lying across the ground. Slowly, it paced around, gauging the height and distance. A thought sparked. If I cannot leap higher, I must climb from lower. In its eyes flickered a new light. Not anger, but cunning intelligence. The fox dragged stones one by one to the base of the vine, stacking them into a shaky platform. At first they wobbled, but gradually he built a stable step. Then he hauled over the fallen branch, propping it against the vine like a makeshift bridge. Sweat matted his fur, stomach growled with hunger, yet his eyes gleamed with hope. The sparrow and squirrel still laughed above, but this time the fox ignored them. He focused on his task, every movement charged with patience. When finished, he stepped back to admire his creation, a crude path, yet one that could bring him closer to the grapes. He smirked. "I'll show you the difference between arrogance and creativity." The fox stepped onto the stone platform, feeling as though mounting a tiny throne. Cautiously, it moved forward, every muscle taut with the fear of slipping. Reaching the branch, it pressed its body close, using all its strength to keep balance. The mocking laughter above slowly faded, replaced by curious stares. Gritting its teeth, the fox climbed inch by inch. At last, it reached the lowest cluster of grapes. Their sweet fragrance filled its nostrils, dizzying it with anticipation. Opening its jaws, it bit into the first grape, a moment it had longed for through all its struggles. The fox sank its teeth into the plump grape. Juice burst forth, but the moment it touched its tongue, a sharp sourness twisted its face. Its jaw dropped in disbelief. "No, I longed for this all along, only for it to taste like this." Hoping it was just the first bite, it tried another. And another, each grape stung with the same sourness. The joy of triumph soured into bitter disappointment. Its heart ached, not from hunger, but from the shattering of its dream. The fox forced itself to chew, though the sourness choked its throat. "Perhaps if I eat more, I'll get used to it," it thought. Yet the more it chewed, the harsher the taste grew, flooding its mouth with bitterness. Its stomach growled, but no sweetness came to soothe it. Above, the sparrow and squirrel were silent. Their laughter was gone, replaced by eyes filled with pity. The fox froze, letting the cluster drop from its jaws. Sour juice clung to its teeth, a cruel reminder that its greatest desire had led only to bitter disappointment. Slumping down, the fox stared at its dust-caked paws and bloodied claws. All the effort, the pain, the hunger, the humiliation, only for a mouthful of sour grapes. In a drop of dew clinging to a leaf, it glimpsed its own reflection, a creature of ambition, but also of delusion. "I deceived myself, believing these grapes would be sweet." Memories surfaced of past desires, each one grand, each one hollow once attained. A gust of wind swept by, carrying the acrid tang of sour fruit, deepening its gloom. The fox lifted its gaze to the grapes, still glittering in the evening sun. To any passerby, they would seem splendid, worthy of longing. But the fox knew the truth. Behind their shining beauty lurked a searing sourness. A dry laugh escaped its throat as it whispered, "So, what I craved most was never worth it." The sound echoed bitter and hollow. Turning away, its stomach remained empty, but its heart was full of disappointment. On the path home, the fox walked slowly, shoulders heavy. No hunger, no anger remained, only emptiness. The forest still buzzed with cicadas. The wind still stirred the leaves, yet to the fox, they whispered mockery. It recalled every leap, every jeer, every flicker of hope shattered into dust, all for a taste of sourness that burned more bitterly than hunger itself. Stopping by a dried stream, it stared at its trembling reflection on the stone. In those weary eyes, a new truth emerged. Not every desire is worth the chase. As night descended, the fox sat atop a mound, gazing at a sky ablaze with stars. It whispered to itself and to every dreamer beyond. "Some things glitter brightly, but once grasped, leave only sourness. Do not let blind desire become your burden." Closing its eyes, it let the night breeze soothe it, belly still empty, but mind clearer than ever. From afar, the grapevine still shimmered in the dark, beautiful yet deceitful. And the fox knew it had learned a greater lesson. Sometimes, letting go is wiser than achieving.